this morning. My name is Jill Ford, and I serve as the Assistant Dean at the Klesse College of Engineering and Integrated Design at the University of Texas at San Antonio. And we have this wonderful opportunity to be in partnership with the D. Howard International Education Foundation and the Rural STEM Initiative. And so that's what helps to bring these presentations to our schools. So happy to be here today with Hidden Cove STEAM Academy. Hi, everybody. Good to see you all. Good to be with you. I have my colleague Carlos Velez with me, who's going to serve as our moderator for this event. And we are so happy to have Ron Rosano with us, a commercial astronaut with Galactic, here to talk with you. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ron.
Great. Thanks, Jill, and thanks, Carlos, for coordinating this. And hey, everybody at Hidden Cove, thanks for bringing me into your classroom. My name is Ron Rosano. I'm at my home near San Francisco, California, and I flew into space with Virgin Galactic, a commercial suborbital flight in October, on October 6th. So I'm coming up on 6 months now since I've flown. And I'm excited to talk to you about commercial space and what that means exactly, how that's different from NASA and people going to orbit. On a commercial flight, we only go into space for a few minutes and then come straight back down. But we still have views of the Earth and get a sense of what our planet looks like from space that you don't get from being on the ground. So I know there was a video sent out. That's a short video that talks about what that's like. Anna, did the students see that?
No, not yet. We did not get a chance to view it quite yet. We were on vacation yesterday, so we are just back today. So yes.
Okay. Well, if you'd like, I could share that.
Okay.
It's about 2.5 minutes long, and it shows what the Virgin Galactic flight system is. So it's very different from a rocket that launches from the ground from standing still. So the Virgin Galactic system there's two parts of it. Oh, my hand gestures are making balloons. So there's two parts of it. There's a carrier plane and a spaceship, and the carrier plane takes the spaceship up to about 40,000 feet, about where you go on a commercial jet, and then releases the spaceship, and the spaceship flies up into space by itself. So let me share that video and make sure the sound comes out with it too. There we go. And there we go. On the drive up here, I was looking over at the eastern sky and starting to get a little bright from the sun, but I could see the Big Dipper. And I said, oh, if we could see the Big Dipper, we could see Polaris. So we found Polaris, and then like Polaris is the star, the pole star in our patch. And there was Polaris right out the front windshield going north on the southern road, taking us to spaceport, our guiding star. To be here on the cusp of actually flying and seeing the spaceship, you see what you expect to see. Open up. BRB.
Release. Fire.
You're going fast, and then you're going faster, and then you're going faster, and you're going faster. So the layers of that as it accelerated through the burn was indescribable.
Welcome to space.
You are cleared to unstrap.
And then it cuts off, and you go into quiet weightlessness. thrill of the rocket firing you through the atmosphere to weightless quiet where you want to be contemplative and like taking in what's out there. It's quite a thing. So that was some highlights from our flight. We had a very good day that day. You know, it's an amazing experience to see the planet like that in the black vastness of space. Really changed my feeling about you know, how we're living as humans on the planet. It made me feel that it's incredible to that our planet exists like that. It supports life like it does, and then incredible that you know, humans have evolved like we have and can understand, you know, what we're doing and to leave the planet. So I've like, you know, I could talk about this for an hour, but I'd love to hear questions from you all. You know, this is not, so just some things to understand. This is not a NASA program. It's not going into orbit like to the International Space Station, but it's commercial flight. So Virgin Galactic, you know, started selling tickets back in 2006 or 7. I bought a ticket in 2010. So we had a long time, and I was lucky to get on this flight. The seat wasn't originally assigned to me, but I've been getting ready for it for a long time. And what's exciting to me is not just flying by myself, but knowing that, you know, dozens and hundreds and then thousands of people will be able to fly like this and see the Earth from space. And I'm sure that all of you students will have the chance to go to space at some point when you get older. You know, it's in a way that's similar to getting on an airline now. You know, you'll go on a space line to a spaceport and be able to fly into space. And I think that's extraordinary. So that's one, you know, important message for you.
So you got a ticket back into, or you got your ticket back in 2010. When was this that you flew?
This is October 2023, so
Okay.
6 months ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Let's see, they've flown 30 people, 32 people so far, on I think 6, 7 flights. Actually 10 flights altogether, counting the test flights. And then Blue Origin is also flying people in a similar, well, to a similar altitude. We went to about 54 miles. And Blue Origin has flown 31 people in 6 flights. So since in the last couple of years, you know, they're starting to fly more and more often. So the years ahead, I think, will open up a lot for more people.
Yeah. So as you said, so we kind of figured this would be good, just more of like a kind of informal conversation between us and Ron, and so for the students in the classroom. Do y'all have any questions that y'all like to talk or ask about, you know, what it was like, you know, the preparation for it, or any kind of those things in terms of listening? So y'all can, I guess, maybe come up closer, or if you want to get the question, and then
let me turn on the lights just a little bit so you can maybe see their faces.
Course.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
All right. Okay. We'll just start right up here at the front. Introduce yourself and then ask your question. Okay.
Hi, my name is Jonathan. And how long were you in space for?
Hey, Jonathan. Thanks. So we're in space for a little under 3 minutes. So it's not a long time, but I'll share one picture with you. This is one of my favorite pictures. What is it like when you're looking at the Earth? It looks like this.
Whoa. That's cool.
Yeah, there's so much that I've thought of. And, you know, since then, it's still kind of settling in with me. We're 54 miles up. So if you think of that in terms of driving around on the ground, you could drive that far on a freeway in a car in an hour, in less than an hour. But what's astonishing is the atmosphere And I spent a lot of time looking at that. I was just transfixed. This blue line between the surface, between the ground on the earth and the black emptiness vacuum of space is really thin. It's way thinner than you than you understand and from looking at it on the ground. This is all of our sky. This is all of our air. Everything on earth that's alive exists in that blue line.
And then
And I got the sense that it's thin and it's fragile, and we need to take really good care of it.
and to expand on that, so 3 minutes in the air, how long to get up?
So
And
the
back down.
plane flies up. It takes about 40 minutes from when it takes off from the ground to when it releases the spaceship.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Joel Mendes, and the question I have today is how do you feel with zero gravity?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Zero gravity is a wonderful feeling. It's I did practice that. There's a way you could practice that in a plane. And it's very strange. You could feel right now gravity holding you into your seat or holding you on the ground. And when all of a sudden you let go of that, it's kind of magical. Your body just floats very naturally. You can push off very gently from a surface, from a wall, and float out away from it. And it's very different feeling. And we had the opportunity to practice that first. It wasn't required, but we could go on a flight on an airplane that flies level, and then it points towards the ground. And for about 30 seconds, you're weightless inside the plane. You're floating inside the plane. And then before it gets too close to the ground, it comes back up and goes up again. And then it goes down again. So it flies these parabolas. And you could model a parabola in math. Maybe you're close to doing that in math. If you see a parabola, that's a perfect application of it, as the pilots are flying as close to a true parabola as they can when they fly this plane. And they do it over and over, and you get to be weightless for 30 seconds, 16 times. So, and they stop after 16 because it's like after that is when people start to get sick and they get nauseous. So I didn't feel nauseous at all in the weightless part. It wasn't really long enough on the space flight. You're under gravity, then you're weightless, and then you're back under gravity. So I didn't feel sick or my stomach at all for that. But yeah, it's very cool.
Thanks for answering my question.
Of course. Our aim is to answer all your questions.
Yes, thank you.
So,
My name is Barrett Beecham, and I'd like to know what it felt like shooting off and like the ship into space.
thanks, Barrett. So shooting off, yes, the rocket ride is very exciting. I have some video of that I could share too. The rocket burns for only a minute. So it's a minute from when they release the spaceship to when the rocket motor shuts off. So what happens is they release the spaceship, and they're going about 400 miles an hour like a plane does. And then the rocket fires, and you go supersonic in about 7 or 8 seconds. So you're going faster than the speed of sound in horizontal flight while you're level. And then after you break the sound barrier, you're going about 700-800 miles an hour. They turn the spaceship up, and the motor burns for about a minute, pointing straight up. And then after the rocket motor cuts off, you're about 130,000 feet. And just like throwing a ball up in the air and having it come back down, the spaceship goes up to 280,000 feet till it stops at apogee. And then, like the ball, gravity brings it back down. So we never escape gravity. That's an important thing to know. It's like this idea of zero gravity, that's a bad term because gravity exists everywhere. Gravity keeps the moon in its orbit around the Earth, and astronauts don't leave gravity. They're just falling around the Earth in a way that makes them feel like they're weightless, and you are weightless. So, so let me share the rocket ride here. You're feeling about 3 times the force of gravity in your seat, and it's not so comfortable, but it's manageable.
Five, 3, 2, 1. Release.
Fire.
Fire.
And then you can see the flame of the rocket reflected in the tail of the spaceship. And now the spaceship's starting to turn up. That's the Rio Grande right below us, Elephant Butte Reservoir north of Las Cruces. So that's South Central Mexico near El Paso. About an hour from El Paso. And now we're pointing straight up, and the sky's starting to turn black.
2.1 Mach.
So
Trimming
2
up.
Mach is 2 times the speed of sound. And there the rocket motor's starting to burn out. Now you can see.
You are
So
cleared
the
to
rocket motor's burned
unstrap.
out. We're cleared to unstrap. We're weightless right now. And I took off my seatbelt because I wanted to float around. And you can see the ground's getting farther and farther away. So this is a camera that's mounted at.
Unlocking
So the
feather.
feather, when they
Copy
say
that.
unlocking feather, it's the tail booms in the back. We could talk about that if you want. That bend up to make it easy to come back into the atmosphere. So I didn't want to bounce around at all. I didn't want to toss candy. I didn't want to do somersaults. I just wanted
Alright, that's coming down.
Roger.
Alright, RCS coming on.
So now we're floating weightless. And because the spaceship turned around, I decided I wanted to turn around too. So I kind of flipped upside down at the window.
Welcome to space.
And then I waited there and I let go of the spaceship just to float separate from the spaceship. There's my friend Trevor, he's floating around in the back behind my seat. There's 3 of us on board, me and 2 others. Apogee is the very top, the highest part, the highest moment. And now we're starting to fall back down. When we did that, I moved to a different window that's at the top of the spaceship. Because the spaceship turns, it flips over again on the way down, and I wanted to be at that top window and just watch the Earth go by. I haven't seen myself blink once in this. If you see a blink,
Can't even imagine.
Spaceport in sight.
Yep, good view.
so those are the pilots talking. The commander and the pilot.
Approaching re-entry. Return to your seats and strap in, please.
So that we're back in our seats. So that's the whole weightless part right there. That's 4 minutes from the start of the video. So we strap in, and then, as we feel gravity on the way down, you see my face starts to sag that, and my eyes get droopy. Because you encounter 3 times the force of gravity on the way down, and it's pulling you down into your seat and pulling your face down. But that only lasts about a minute. Only lasts, it's pretty quick. And then we float down and land back on the runway. So that's the whole time right there. It's quick. So I spent a lot of time practicing and trying to get ready for that. It's like I talked about in the video, it's like they're very two different things. It's like you're so excited to be the rocket's firing, and you're going to space and you're pushed back in your seat. And then it stops and you want to be quiet and like take in the whole experience. It's very different states of mind. So I practice for that a lot.
Yes, anybody else have a question?
Name is Ronaldo Orocha, and my question is, what was going through your mind through this whole experience?
That's a great question. What was going through my mind? I was trying to keep my mind empty. It's funny. I thought at first I just wanted to look at the Earth. And then I read a quote from a guy that won the moon, Dave Scott. And that was they showed that in the video. And Dave Scott was at an exhibit of pictures from the moon. And somebody asked him, gee, Dave, some people say the moon could look kind of orange. Some people said look kind of brown. When you were walking on it, what did you think? And Dave said, well, you see what you expect to see. You have to open up. So I thought, that's great. Don't be looking for landforms or mountain ranges or anything in particular. Just be open to the experience and let it bring to you whatever it's going to bring. So I spent a lot of time. I was just kind of surprised by how that thin blue line and what that looked like. It was vivid and vibrant and like electric blue, more than you see in pictures or in the video. It feels like it's almost alive. And I've thought about this a lot, and because everything lives in that thin blue line, you get a sense of interdependency and interconnectedness. Everything's related in there. When something happens on one part of the globe, it can affect another part of the globe. So it's our atmosphere, our air, you look at the sky and it looks like it goes on for a long way, but you go outside of it, look back on Earth, and you see it's just this thin layer that hugs this giant, enormous planet. So
Thank you.
I'm so excited to share that with you.
Thank you. Hey, you have one, go ahead. One.
My name is Joe, and my question was, what made you want to become an astronaut?
So why did I want to become an astronaut? Well, for as long as I can remember, I was always curious about space and the night sky. When I was even 6 or 7 or 8 years old, I was curious about it. My mom took me to a planetarium where I could learn the constellations. And I always looked up in the sky on clear nights and thought about the stars and was wondering, I was curious about what's really going on out there. How far away are they? Why do we see them the way we see them? And then when I was 9, they landed on the moon for the first time, for the first Apollo landing. And that changed. That was really inspiring for me to see that. And it was exciting to go out and see the moon in the sky and look up and say, oh, wow, there's 2 guys walking around up there right now. That really helped me connect to space and be curious and want to go. And I never thought I'd be able to go, because the only people that went were test pilots and people that were in the military. And then there were the space shuttle doctors and physicists and people with, a lot of advanced degrees, after college. So when Virgin Galactic came along and said, yeah, we're gonna build this and take people to space, I thought, wow, that could be my ride. So it was always a curiosity, and humans have that. It's kind of innate in some people that people want to see what's on the other side of the mountain, or they want to cross the ocean to see what's out there, and they don't know what's going to be there when they get there, if there's going to be anything there at all. So I think I always had a little bit of that explore kind of thinking in me too. So I would encourage all of you to stay curious and be curious about things and ask lots of questions.
This group specifically does. They're really good. There are critical thinkers. They build robots. They are doing drones right now. So they are engineers. So they are a perfect group to hear that. Thank you so much. Have anybody else? All right, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Pablo, and my question is, what was your objective?
Pablo, wow, that's a great question. What was my objective? Well, it's a unique thing. I always wanted to see the Earth like that, a curiosity. I think it's important for humans to know that we're on this planet together, that Earth is a spaceship by it as it is. We don't think of it as a spaceship, but we're all on the Earth and it's carrying us through space. It's revolving around its axis. It's orbiting the sun as it goes around. And for the most part, we don't think about that too much. We need food and water and shelter and sleep. And you don't really need to think about the Earth being, floating in space. But in the long term, I think humans really need to know that to survive, that we are, and that more people need to realize that we are connected. Everything on the planet is interconnected. Thin and fragile atmosphere. And now that I've flown, I think my job is to go back out like I'm doing right now and share that experience. It's only been a very few number of people that have done this. It's fewer than 700 people have been in space in all of history. And I got to thinking about that. It's like, wow, fewer than less than 700 out of 7 billion or 8 billion on the planet. It's a gift. It's a gift to me to be able to do that. And now I feel responsibility to come and share that with, as many people as I can. So I was just kind of drawn to it in that way.
My name is Sammy. I saw the plane. Did it take any more rockets into space?
Yeah, Sammy, that's a great thing about that's it, exactly right. It does. The plane and the spaceship are reused over and over and over. They fly the same plane, the same spaceship. They flew 7 times in 7 months last year. They're only going to fly twice this year for a few different reasons. But yeah, one thing they do change is the rocket motor engine. And that is the only part that's different every time. I think I have a picture of that. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, if you'd like, I could share a few quick pictures of how they build the spaceship. So this is this big dark thing is a tank of oxygen that sits inside this gap in the ship that you see here. And that's 1/2 of the fuel. It's nitrous oxide gas. And then this is a rocket motor engine that has solid fuel. And for every flight, they take that engine out and put a new one in. And when they're ready to fire the rocket, they open a valve between the tank and the solid fuel and ignite it. And it comes out the back and flies the spaceship up. So yeah, they reuse it every time, which is great. And then, that's one thing that SpaceX has done, not all that far from you in Boca Chica, is flying, I have a model here of Starship. If you ever have a chance to go see that, you should go. Because it's this Virgin spaceship is about 60 feet long. This is 400 feet tall. It's like a tall 40-story building. I don't know what the tallest building in San Antonio is.
Probably the town of America, I think. I think that's what it is, yeah.
but I wonder if there's a
It's
40-story building in San Antonio
yeah.
that
Tower of
look up
Americas is about 700 feet.
700 feet.
Mhm.
So it's a little, yeah. It's not as tall as that building, but it goes into space.
It goes into space. Yeah, it's cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Great. Anybody else have questions?
Well, I have a question for you.
Sure.
If you could go, how many of you would like to go to space?
You raise your hand if you would like to go to space given the opportunity. Oh, looks like you got the whole crew ready to go.
Jill and Carlos, you would go. Would you go? Yes? All right, great.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure I
think
would. I'm not sure I could
that's
do
fair
it,
enough.
but you're pretty
So,
brave.
yeah, I think that that's part of it is, you know, I think you all will have, all you students will have the opportunity to go to space sometime. And that's exciting for me. And I think it's, you know, exciting for everyone. If you want to work in the space industry, you know, an important message I have for you is that you could do that in any number of ways. You know, yes, they have pilots, engineers that are flying the spaceship and designing the spaceship. They also have people that, you know, did a 2-year trade degree after high school that are building the spaceship, and they love building and fixing things. I don't know if any of you have done maker kinds of activities. People with doing robotics, or, you know, programming, you know, software that run the spaceship. Um, there are people that love networking and computers that are managing all the data that's gathered by the spaceship. They measure pressures and temperatures and all kinds of things with sensors all over the spaceship. And there's like a terabyte of data that comes down that they gather, that they have to analyze. And there's somebody that manages that data that loves networking and computers. There are graphic artists and people that love designing things, or web programmers. There's people that, you know, design the logo and all that run the website. There's people that are photographers and videographers that work for the company that take the pictures that, like you saw in the video. They're creative thinkers. There's people that work in hospitality that are making food, and you know, there's going to be an astronaut village where people go before their space flight. There's a woman, Kendra, at Spaceport, who's a barista, and she works at Spaceport, and she makes coffee and drinks for people that are going to space and building spaceships. And it's like, what a cool job. She never thought she'd be doing something like that. So, you know, I would encourage you to, if you'd like to be involved in space, there's any kinds of ways to do it, and just find something you really love doing and be ready to work hard at being really good at it, you know, and you'll never know where you'll end up. You know, I think 20 years ago, before Galactic started, I don't think any of the people that worked for the company or any of the people that have flown into space with them would have any idea that we're doing what we're doing now. So you know,
you kind of mentioned that, and that was my question to you is, you said you've been preparing for a while, but that you weren't supposed to be on that flight, right? Did I get that correct?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
kind of how did that work out that you got picked and you got up there?
Well, that was fate working for me, and you know,
Awesome.
and some serendipity. So you know, Galactic assigned people to their flights, you know, when they started flying in June last year, actually even before, the year before. And they came up with this flight in October, and one of the people that was supposed to be on it, Teddy Mason Rouge is her name. She said, "Gee, I can't go in October. Can I go in November?" And I said, "Well, okay, we could put you on November instead, but now we got to find somebody to go in October." So at the very end of August, they sent a note out to all the people that are signed up and said, "Hey, we've got a spot to fill. We're going to ask you to pay a little more. Do you want to go?" And I'm like, click, 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 click. Yes, take me. And it was, and I think in part because I had worked with them for so long doing these space chats, talking to students for about 10 years with over 200 different schools. Because I'm excited about space flight. I'm excited that people can go to space. And it was Galactic liked having me do that. You know, I didn't do it. I just did it because I love doing it. But when it became time, and I never expected this to happen, when they had a seat to fill and they had to pick somebody, because they knew me, without intending to do so, I made it very easy for them to pick me.
That's great.
So
That's great.
it's just, that's kind of the of following your passion, and you never know where it will lead you.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, so there's a lot, there's a lot of elements of that. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, so we're kind of getting close to 10, so just to be mindful of everybody's time. We can kind of start wrapping up, but any last question from the class? Anybody want to throw out one more before we wrap up?
Yeah.
No? Yeah, I see.
Maybe no.
All right.
They're good.
Cool. Well then, Ron, any closing statements or thoughts for the group before we leave for today?
Yeah, I would just, encourage you, like I said, to follow, the things you love doing. It's great that you're in STEM and thinking about it in that way. I think there's a lot of great opportunities. And as you get older, if you're more curious about what kinds of things these companies are doing, it's very easy to search for Virgin Galactic careers or SpaceX careers and look at the job site, because they have job listings online. And you could go right now and look at the positions that SpaceX or Virgin Galactic are hiring for, and see, oh yeah, this is mechanical engineering, or this is rocket engineering, or this is customer relations, and get an idea of the kind of jobs that are out there. And yeah, I would just encourage you to always think big. Don't think certain things might be impossible, because they may not. And don't think that might never go to space. And I don't think it'll be a rare thing when you're in your 20s or 30s, So I'll leave you with that, I think.
Absolutely. And then so that'll be our presentation again. Thanks everybody again, Ron, of course, for being here for today, taking the time to talk with us. So cool and thank you for having all those videos, because it's always hard to like really fathom what it's like. You can imagine somebody going to space, but actually getting to like see you up there, and it's so cool that you have like the full videos to get to like reflect on it as well.
Good.
Well, I guess my question for you, how often do you watch those videos? Because I feel like I'd be watching them like once a week.
Yeah. Usually images or another once a week. I just got video from Virgin Galactic that was taken from the camera that's in the tail cone, because there's cameras all over the spaceship. There's two cameras at every seat, one at the side and one at the window above us. So there's cameras at the front of the spaceship, above and below. There's at the back, above and below. There's, I think, 16 cameras in the back, 12 cameras. There's a lot. So there's there's all kinds of views. So it's fun to see us floating around inside and see what we did. Everybody has a different approach to doing it. Some people want to do somersaults, or some people just want to look out the window. If we have a minute, I'll just say this. Trevor, who was on our flight, had a very different experience. I stayed in my windows. Trevor went from his window over into the area that's behind the seats, so he could float around, and looked out windows on one side, looked out windows on the other. And when the spaceship was upside down, he was on the floor of the spaceship, but looking down, and he could see Earth through multiple windows and out the front window. And he said when he was looking out there, he had a connection to the Earth that was profound for him. It was amazing. And that it was almost as if he was there, like the spaceship was not even in the way. It was just him and the planet. And he could see it out windows from the left to the bottom to the right, and see all the horizons. Since you like videos, I'll share this one too. Oops, let me open it. Because I think I could do it before the top of the hour.
Alright, that's coming down.
Roger.
RPS coming on?
We're not seeing it. We hear it.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Great, great.
So here's Trevor floating around the back. He's from the United Kingdom, from the UK. So I'm over here at my window. Trevor's out in the back. So we spent some time practicing who's going to go with.
Welcome to space.
Because you want to make sure that everybody isn't crowded all in the same space. And you see my feet are hanging over on this seat, and my other crewmate Namira, she has long hair. She's in the front. She's the first person from Pakistan to go to space. Here's Trevor. He's floating over to the other side. And he went upside down there too. So you got to be careful. You don't want to, when you're weightless, you don't want to try and swim. Either your first
apogee
is to try and swim, but you don't want to do that because you don't want to kick your so there's a little more. So maybe I'll leave you with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, did you say that was it? That was everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So thank you again for Ron. Thank you for the class, also taking the time to talk with us today. We appreciate y'all listening and getting to learn from all the great things they're doing over at Galactic. And thanks for Ron, thanks for sharing this. This has been cool. I'm going to talk to everybody about it as I have been with all the Galactic stuff we've been seeing. And we'll go ahead and close up from there. So thank you very much.